Hi everyone, this is Penny once again, and today I have been privileged to speak to my friend who is Zhihan, and I met him here in the Philippines, actually in Bacolod. It's in Bacolod, right?
Yes, the first time.
Yeah,
Correct.
so we met in Bacolod, but he's now somewhere in the world, somewhere in Asia, and he has a business here in the Philippines, and I'd like him to talk to you about the business as well. So, Zihan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Zhihan. I'm from Singapore, currently in Singapore. Was lucky to move back to Singapore before the Singapore government closed down. All the made a lot of transportation restrictions to coming in. So we're thankful for that. And I've been living in the Philippines though for I think more than 8 years now, and that was in my early years that was how I met Penny. Um, and and so with a few other Singaporeans, we started a workforce development company in the Philippines. There's a whole, as Penny, as you know, there's a whole lot of story behind that. But
Mm-hmm.
long story short, we are a workforce development company, and we help companies develop their people, especially developing human skills that help unlock the potential and drive performance. Yeah, it's been a wild journey since we started in the province, in the countryside, in a city called Bago City. The name of the company is called Bagosphere. So the name Bago means new or change in Filipino. We like that word a lot. And at the same time, we started in a city called Bago City, which is in Negros Occidental.
Mm-hmm.
And there is also a tree called the Bago tree. So we kind of took that as a sign that we that is a tree. It's a symbol that represents development of potential, development of people. So there, we have been running for the last 8 years. We have training programs in Iloilo. We're about to launch in Manila until the lockdown happened. So we were not able to do that. But from the last 2 weeks has been challenging. But I think in the midst of all these challenges, the team and I have been, I think, viewing this as a as an opportunity for us to make some changes. So I figure out what is what can we do now with the resources and assets that we have, and move forward.
Mm-hmm. I remember having met you, and I was saying to myself, what are these two Singaporeans doing
Mhm.
here helping the Philippines? Scratching my head, you're in Bacolod, no, you're in Bago, and you're helping the Filipinos level up or skill up for the BPO, right? And I was asking myself, yeah, we need foreigners to come here to help us. Why did you set up in the Philippines in the first place?
Well, my co-founders were doing volunteering work in Bago City, in Negros Occidental. And when I met with them, I just came back from India working for another social enterprise. And it was in India where I saw how people who had no education were trained in 7 to 9 months to become data entry workers
Mm-hmm.
in a very remote part of India. And I was very inspired, very uh, amazed by how the transformation happened. And so I met my co-founders in Singapore and said, there's you know, we need to relook at education, right? We need to relook at how we are skilling young people for the future of the workforce. And it looks like, it is possible now to kind of rethink that because of technology,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that work is changing, right? And, with this crisis, it's all, everyone's working from home, and you know the outsourcing sector, I guess, was a has been around for so many years, and it's shown that people can really work from very remote locations. So we decided to pilot in the Philippines because there is a growing outsourcing sector,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw that there were a lot of young people who are in the informal sector and aspiring to do more, right? Aspiring to work for an industry that is growing very rapidly. And so we said, let's bridge that gap. So that was how we started.
So you are in Bago and in Iloilo, right? At the moment.
Right now we are in Bacolod. That's where our headquarters is. We have moved from Bago to Bacolod because we wanted to. Um, we had a lot of challenges along the way, and one of it was, um, how do we scale, and maximize the resources that we have. And we realized that in Bago there were a lot of limitations. I mean, obviously in a very small city like that, it was hard to get the talent that we need in order for us to scale. It was hard for us to get the partnerships, etc., etc. So we said, we have to move our headquarters. So we moved to Bacolod, and last year we set up Iloilo, and this year was supposed to be Metro Manila.
Mm-hmm. So what's happening now in, first of all, what's happening in Singapore? Because Singapore, I heard, is able to beat the curve. I think that's the term that they use. Is it, or there's another second spike that has come?
Yeah, it has come because of people returning back from overseas. But I think this needs to be looked at in perspective of the SARS virus, maybe about 18 years ago. And Singapore was hit quite bad. I was in senior high school then. I remember schools was closed, and people died, and so I think the government learned a lot from the experience, and built a lot of capability around dealing with a situation like that. So when the virus was first emerged from Wuhan in China, um, there was immediate reaction from the government, the Singapore government, on exactly what to do. So since then, right, there's been a lot of precautions. I think because of that, right, I think speed is crucial in this
Mm-hmm.
case. In the beginning, we were already, we raised the level of alert, and a lot of precautions were taken. We shut travel from the particular part of China, um, and yeah, and then because Singapore is such a global hub, right? So we have
Yeah.
so many travelers going around. So and in such a dense city, so the fact that we have all these combinations is actually a lethal combination for the virus to get out of control. But so far, I think we've been able to handle it quite well.
Okay, and Singapore is ready, and the Philippines is not. I hate to use that word. Is not. So what happened to your operations? What's happening to your operations in Bacolod and Iloilo?
Yeah, glad you mentioned. I mean, it's tough. Right? Um, we stop all classes, just like every school. Right? You were still teaching in LaSalle, right?
Yeah,
Are you teaching online? Like I have no.
We had to teach online, but we were asked to stop. I'll tell you why later. So what's happening in Bacolod and Iloilo?
So yeah, we stopped all classes. We had to pull back all our trainers, because they were also deployed in many other cities in the Philippines, running onboarding programs for a client. So the first few days was first priority was trying to get everybody home, everybody safe. And of course, we had to stop all classes because even in the provinces, the community quarantine was also coming to effect. So we were able to move everyone to work from home, and we had about 25 people. Still a small team, but we were able to move everyone to work from home pretty quickly. We had a class that was running, and I'll tell you a funny story. So in Iloilo we had a class running, and they were supposed to graduate. It's a 4-week program. We have what we call it a pre-employment training for the BPO sector, right? So they were about to graduate, so unfortunately they couldn't. But when they all had to move back home, our trainers were calling them up, and we're still providing that coaching. This obviously is a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
The people that we train do not have internet access. They don't have laptops. They might have a smartphone, but definitely no data. So there's this messenger, or we call that, right? So we were calling them, and then we were hearing a lot of goats at the background because
Yeah.
they were in the countryside, and there was a lot of distraction. But I think that's the students were still so motivated, right? They knew that that they had a chance, and they want to give it their best, right? So I think that was a very inspiring um, thing for me to see, and they took a picture of the goats, right? Because it was this going around and just bothering the lesson. But despite all that's happening, we have even people coming to the center. We are closed now, but even people, go, I mean, probably shouldn't quote me on this, but even during quarantine, I'm not sure in Iloilo, but coming to the center and trying to apply for a program,
Mm.
because they are very interested in getting a job. So in the midst of all these challenges, we see the resilience in people, in young people, and for us, we want to prepare ourselves, because we know that this is going to end, right? It's just a matter of time, and for us, we want to figure out how we could scale up, as I said, expanding to Metro Manila and all that.
Mm-hmm.
um, and the time that's given to us now can be used to help us develop new programs and develop new ways of delivering programs to other people.
Okay. So you're the goats and the rooster. You might hear the rooster here
All the time.
all the time, no matter what time of day it is, and sometimes the ambulance. Or the only sounds you hear now, dogs, rooster. There's an orphanage across the street, so you hear children singing and
Mm.
ambulances. So good and bad. Oh, there's the rooster again. So with now what's happening in Iloilo and Bacolod, no classes ongoing. How how is it for the people who have started the program and they were looking forward to jobs?
Yeah. So we were able to have we were able to help them with the placement. Um, the thing right now is that we're still waiting for the BPOs, the call centers, and trying to see how they are going to still be recruiting. From what I last heard, there are companies that are still recruiting and hiring, um, even ramping, right? Even getting, they need more people now to handle the increase of calls, perhaps from different sectors. Um, so the quarantine is impeding that, and so we're still doing, we're having a wait and see. If the situation gets better, we were able to organize something to help our students apply for the jobs, etc. Yeah, so I think mostly what we see in the communities that we are working in is that people are looking for jobs, right? People are looking for extra income if they're employed, because they know the situation is really bad. So I think um, the so I think there's a lot of demand, for people to not just find work but also find the skills, right, and build their skills so that they can do something, so that they could at least get some income on the side. So on Bagosphere side now, with with no classes happening, we're not rushing to do anything. I mean, we are taking stock of what we have, as a team, and trying to figure out how can we better support our students and even those who are potentially displaced from their jobs.
That's the biggest worry, the potential displacement. We've seen in the US 3.3 million unemployed, the record high of unemployment.
Mm.
Here we know if this prolongs, something like that will happen. No one's talking about it. Really, no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Wait and see, and hoping for the best. And hoping for the best. What do you advise then the students who are not yet in jobs, who may have internet access, some don't? What is the best use of their time? Because I have students who tell me, Miss Penny, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. I want to go out. I'm so bored. So what
What from
advice?
finished watching all the Netflix already.
Yeah. So what can you advise them to do?
Uh, well, two things actually. One is uh, reduce 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 media consumption. Uh, don't switch on the television. Don't watch the news. If you're on Facebook, probably have to limit that. So media consumption, I think, can be very toxic,
Mm.
especially now. Everything is about COVID-19. Everything is
Yes.
about economy and everything. So if you have the, if you can control it, reduce media usage, because it has been shown that it increases the level of stress,
Yeah.
and all that. Facebook, of course, being being one of the culprit. Um, the second is, I think, self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
If you can disconnect from technology, of course, you want to use technology to learn and go on Coursera and pick up courses. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a given. But I think sometimes the answers are inside ourselves, right, and not somewhere else. And I think this time is it's a pretty good time to do some self-reflection, write a journal, about what your feelings and thoughts are during this period of time, um, or even read a physical book, right? Um, I think there was a not a very scientific study. It was a guy, from, I think, an investor who, no, he was a coach. He was an executive coach, almost somewhat like you, Penny. And he interviewed a lot of, like, over 30 entrepreneurs, during, when with this virus issue happened. And when he interviewed all that 30 entrepreneurs, and he did an analysis on the kind of words that they use. Um, and he realized that people who use the words like panic, um, frustration, Trump,
Mm-hmm.
um, they were more fear focused,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were consuming a lot of media. They were on social media, commenting, Twitter, commenting about many different things. And then there was another group, which was, the most calm, and they had a plan for the future. They know what to do. And he realized that that group were people who the people in that group had some form of meditation practice.
Mm-hmm.
So the two advices really, cut down on media and news usage. And second is, have some sort of self-awareness practice, whether it's in meditation or maybe yoga, or even just writing a journal. I think that helps with developing, um, sense of grounding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is now so up in the air and everything's just, not very certain. And to ground yourself, like, this is where I am now. This is me breathing in, breathing out.
Mm-hmm.
One can be quite grateful for that, right? And I think it's that gratefulness and that gratitude, that will, that the kind of support, support us during this difficult time.
Okay. And thank you, because I just wrote in my gratitude. I just wrote in my journal what I'm grateful for this morning. And, and if you follow me on Facebook, I'm grateful for it almost every day, because I'll go crazy.
Exactly.
Because just like you, my speaking engagements, my speaking engagements have been canceled.
Mm.
So what's the best use of time for me now is to talk to you guys. We haven't sat down and really have a talk, right?
Yeah,
So
So
why
I'm
this?
grateful for this, right? I mean, obviously it's not a good situation for the world and for many people, but I'm grateful that we, because of this, we have this time to chat, even though it's online.
Yeah, and by the way, congratulations for your Ashoka Fellowship. Huh?
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you very much. And once again, the advice is limit social media. And your phone, at least the smartphone that I have, tells me if I've gone above or below last week, and I'm
Right.
24% below last week. So that's good. and and self-reflection. And you mentioned meditation and yoga and journaling and just breathing, so that we will all feel grounded. These are stressful times. It's not just in the Philippines. It's not just in Asia. but everywhere in the world. So at ambulance. So at the end of the day, even though we are miles apart because of this COVID, we are just one human race. Anything else that you'd like to say?
I had a call with one of our funders yesterday, and he brought up an interesting fact. When I asked him about, just like how you asked me about what my view are on the situation, and because he works for a foundation in Europe, his reply was that we need to look at this in perspective, right? Yes, there's a lot of suffering that's happening now, but we also need to be aware that things like malnutrition or sanitation, these issues, or even malaria or dengue, all these diseases, they do, like, say, in the case of malnutrition, about 3.1 million children die every year, right, because of malnutrition.
Yep.
So I think we need to kind of sometimes also take in perspective, what this issue is, and also shine some light into some of the injustices and the gaps in our system. That is not this virus or COVID related, right? But there's so many other issues that we need to be aware of, and it's and kind of have back in our minds that this is we need to keep it in perspective. And there's a lot of people out there that, like I was reading in the newspapers in India, people have to walk 1,000 kilometers back home because there's no transportation at all.
Yep.
So I do hope that the self-reflection exercises, all that, would help us to shine maybe more awareness into this. There's a lot of things that's happening, and regardless of the virus, and we can we need to do more, right, as individuals, as societies, and at the government level, to try to solve these problems.
Yes. So thank you. These problems are problems that we see every day, and like malnutrition, like poverty. These are not new issues. You've been to Manila. You've seen the people living under the bridge, informal settlers. Now they're saying give aid. Who's responsible for that? They're not voters. My gosh, we're talking about politics in the midst of crisis. So bringing back humanity to humanity, I think that's it. And I applaud you for helping the Philippines and the Filipinos, and thank you for not giving up on us, because we have dreams as well. The Filipinos have dreams as well, and I hope that things go back to normal so you can come back here and that we can do our workshop in Iloilo. Looking forward to that.
Right.
I'm looking forward to that. I just hope that things will work for the best sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe we could organize our alumni, at least those who have Wi-Fi or internet, and you could do it online.
Oh yeah, we can do it anytime. We can do it anytime. That's a fantastic opportunity for them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Zhihan, and thank you from all the way from Singapore. I hope you stay safe. And I don't know how your lockdown is, but preferably stay home.
Yeah, I got it. In Singapore, you could actually go out still, but you have to limit interaction and all that. But we're very lucky, so I know that.
Yeah, I know you have a very good prime minister. You have a very good prime minister who goes to national television for a press conference. I won't say anything about ours. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Manny. Thanks for the
conversation. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.